Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez.
I'm Hella Rodriguez.
And today we are going to be reviewing For Northwood. I always say that like that in my head every time, and I don't know if that's it's just how I say things. This is a solo trick-taking game designed by Will Sue and put out by Sideroom Games.
They say it's a 20-minute game. For me, I typically played it faster than that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I never really timed myself, but I know it didn't take long.
Yeah, I mean, it might be close to the 20 minutes, but I think I definitely had some games that were closer to the 15-minute mark, so.
Right. So, I'm told that this is a very unusual game. Now, I don't have very much background in trick-taking games. I know of two that I've played. I played a Vamp on the Batwalk, which is a very unique game, and Gudetama. I don't remember Vamp on the Batwalk can play fewer than 3 players, but I remember like when there was a game called Fox in the Forest that came out, and that was a 2-player trick-taking game, and everyone was like, a 2-player trick-taking game? How do they even do it? So this is a solo one, which I guess is really weird. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of my intro to this. It's a solo trick-taking game. Some of you are like, what? And I was like, it sure is a game that I have. I don't know. So with that nonsense out of the way, let's get into our opinions on this, starting with art and components.
So the artwork for this game is very cutesy. It really reminds me of like a nursery room, but it may be a little cutesy for some people, but I think it is well done cutesy artwork. The cards I think are a little bit thin. They're definitely thinner than what you would normally get in a standard deck building game. So since you do have to shuffle quite a bit, I do have a little bit of concerns about that. I think there's enough room in the box that they made that they could have had standard thickness cards and it would have been okay. But I'm not. Maybe that was the reason why they're a little bit thinner.
Could be. I mean, I didn't specifically notice it because I don't think it's like egregiously thin, but yeah, it could well be. You played with this kind of cards a lot more than I have. But I agree on the artwork. It's super cute. I think like the lion on the cover, I swear to God, we had a blanket for like our kids when they were like infants that looks very similar in art. It wasn't exactly the same, but I swear to God, like I would almost be like, is that the same artist? Could be. I don't know. So it is absolutely that level of cuteness. Now, because it comes in this little box, the rulebook is also very small. And to be honest, like when I learn games, I usually watch a video first and then I'll read the rulebook. And I actually just downloaded the rules as a PDF on the iPad so I could read it bigger. But I did have to look at here and reference a little bit, and it's not too bad. I just prefer not to try to like, squint my way through a whole set of rules. But not absurdly tiny, but if your eyesight isn't fantastic, you might want to be looking for a PDF for that too, just so you can see a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the font size, but because it is a smaller rulebook, I think there's some rules that they kind of simplified. And so for me, it was kind of hard to understand what some of the rules were saying or meant. So I ended up watching a how to play video so that I could understand some of the rules that I read.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I had some trouble with the rules too, but I think for me it was more just that even though I played a couple trick-taking games, I couldn't like explain to someone what a trick-taking game is with any kind of accuracy. So it's still kind of like a new world for me in a sense. So just getting the lingo with the trump card and all that stuff, it just took a little bit. It's a little bit extra because I'm learning at like the very basic level, plus whatever the unique things about this particular game are. But that being said, it's not a extremely complicated game by any stretch, so can't complain about that too much. I think the rules, I think you might be right that I think it might be kind of a little more vague just because it might assume some knowledge that isn't necessarily there, but it's hard for me to say because I did watch the video first, so it's tough for me to really say too much about that.
One small nitpick that I have with the artwork is some of the characters that they use, like each suit is has the characters are like some high class, like a king, queen, baron of something that has to do with the suit. So like there's a baron of claws, there's a queen of eyes, and some of them make sense. Like there's an owl for eyes. Some of them don't. There's like a elephant or a rhinoceros or something of claws. They don't have claws. There's a bat of eyes. There's a skunk of flowers. So some of them I think are just cute and like kind of there to be funny. But some of them I'm like, it just doesn't make sense, and I don't get like the skunk of flowers. I get that makes sense. A lot of things have made that connection. Some of them I'm just like, wait, what? And like once I noticed it, I kind of unnoticed it, and it started to kind of bother. Like my attention started going to that.
Yeah, I know just a couple things of that too. It didn't throw me off too much. Although now that you're talking about it, like something like the Queen of Eyes, it sounds like some kind of weird Cthulhu mythos creature. Like, oh yeah, she's the King in Yellow's wife. I don't know. Like it sounds creepy to me. It's not all creepy in this game. It's very, very cute. But yeah, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But nonetheless, it just kind of occurred to me. It sounds creepy. Beware the Queen of Eyes. She sees everything. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's go on to theme, which is not Cthulhu mythos. Okay, so for the theme, I think I mentioned before that I'd often kind of shied away from trick-taking games because I couldn't see how they could be thematic at all. I mean, some of them had some kind of themes, on them, but I was still like, yeah, that they're going to have pictures on the cards that match this thing, and that's going to be that. So the idea on this is you were trying to, like, create peace between the different fiefs, I believe, in the world, kingdom, I'm not sure. Anyway, so each of the animals that you go up to play against, sort of, each have their own kingdom, and when you win tricks, you're like convincing them to go along with you. And it's kind of neat, actually. I mean, it's still not heavily thematic, but I feel like they put enough on here to have it make sense. Like if you play, I may be saying things, by the way, that are so common to every trick-taking game player ever that, like, it's like, yeah, we know, dude. But listen, I don't even know it's normal. So, but like, if they play a card that doesn't match their suit, but you have a card that does match their suit, you can play that down, and that counts as a win trick because you're actually getting them back on the topic that they're interested in. So you're kind of getting their attention back where you want it to be. I love that particular one. That particular bit of the fluff here is probably my favorite. I just think that's kind of cool. I don't know why.
I don't know if that's typical of trick-taking as far as theme, but as far as like gameplay, that's pretty typical for card trick-taking games.
See, I don't know jack about this stuff. I don't understand the thematic because like you have your I'm gonna call them leaders, or I'm not sure if that's right, but all in front of you, and so on one side you have one that you want to win no tricks, and on the far end you have one that you need to win 7. I don't know what's up with this no trick person. Like, why do they want me to not convince them or have an enjoyable conversation with me at all? And as long as I can like be off-putting, I guess, the entire time, they'll be like, yeah, I'll go along with it.
They want to be superior.
I guess that's it. Yeah, they always want to win the tricks, and so they're like, yeah, you're kind of a sucky little lackey, so I guess I'll go along with you. Ha ha ha. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. It's just kind of a funny thing. Like, I don't know what is this animal up to? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that really matters. I didn't get a good sense that some of the leaders' powers necessarily matched up thematically in any way with what they were. I don't know how you would really do that in a game like this, but I still liked them though. They're cool. They're cute. They have their own little personality to them, I thought, a lot of times. So I don't know. What do you think about the theme?
Yeah, I think the theme I feel is kind of loosely there. As you were talking, I was just kind of trying to briefly kind of look through the cards to make sure that I was remember things correctly. Though, I think because it's like it does seem like you're like trying to like kind of make peace among several different kingdoms, and like each suit is its own kingdom. Because like they have like Baron of Claws, King of Claws, Queen of Claws, and then each suit has its own of whatever, claws, eyes, flowers, whatever the suit is. And like, I think something that what I was trying to refresh my memory on to make sure that I was correct in thinking this is, I think it would help tie in the theme a little bit more if the like if each suit represented like a type of climate or something. So, or like a jungle or a desert, or, you know, and you had animals that represented that.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like that would, then it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to this land. So that's one way I could see tying in the theme a little bit. I already kind of mentioned how like some of the animals like don't quite match up with like what their suit is like of claws. Another one that made me laugh is a bat is something of eyes.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's some of them that I'm just like, what? and it just, my brain starts focusing on that. So.
Yeah, I could see that. I think I remember catching that one too. It didn't distract me really, but I could see. I mean, it is a little bit bizarre, some of them, but they might have just thrown that kind of stuff in there just to be like,
yeah. I mean,
throw a monkey wrench in.
Yeah, it is funny, but like once I noticed it, it started to kind of bother me. So.
Fair enough.
So overall, I enjoyed this game. There was like one specific rule with the allies that I didn't understand even after watching the how to play video. And so most of the games I played, I was actually playing the allies rules incorrectly. And so I was playing on a much harder level than the game actually is, which was making me frustrated as I was playing it.
Sure.
So it is a hard game, but you know, when you're not playing that rule correctly, it's even more harder. And like, there was one game where I scored 1, and I'm like, how did I only manage to get one person on my side?
You really showed up like dressed badly, and you hadn't showered in like 5 weeks or something. I don't know what happened to you. It was terrible.
So yeah, you know, where the last game I played, the very first leader I went to see, I was still playing that rule wrong, but then like I kind of like was like, okay, wait a minute, I have this card and it's making me question how I've been playing the allies, because it doesn't make sense for the way I've been playing it. So I asked and got clarification on that, and so then I played the rest of the game the correct way with the allies, and I did much better. So I got to like a 15, and I think their like low score is like 16. So if I would have played that whole game correctly, I may have actually scored on their score level. That being said, I think a big part of that goes to that small rule book. I know part of it is just going to be a me thing, because with being autistic and dyslexic, my reading comprehension is not there, and so I can read a rule book 5 times and still have questions. So even if it's a very clear rule book, so I do think that the rulebook could be clearer, but like, you know, I even watched a video and I still had questions. So, you know, I think having that rulebook be a little bit more in depth would help.
Sure, I can see that. You know, I think you mentioned it is a difficult game, and it definitely is. You know, I think my best score is a 13. And how is it that even in solo games you beat me? Unbelievable. And you. Anyway, it's fine. No, I'm just joking around, but yeah, it's a tough one, and I don't know if someone who like really is like, you know, super well versed in trick taking games would have a much easier time with this. I could certainly see that as being possible, because as it is, like when I read these rules and how it works, I'm like, this seems so random. Like, do I even have real choices in this? And I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of see. And then pretty soon I'm like, oh, with these powers I can manipulate it this way. So it's like I'm learning these strategies that probably for a lot of trick-taking fans might even seem kind of basic, honestly, I'm guessing. But, you know, from my angle, being just with the experience I have, that's fun. It's kind of fun to discover this thing and be like, oh my god, I see how I can use this now, or like before I wasn't seeing it. Because, you know, you have your starting group of allies that all have a power, and then as you win over the leaders of various areas, you can pull that card and you get to use you get to have them replace one of your allies for like one visit, basically. And that's kind of cool because like now when do I want to use this person? I got to make sure I time this right. It's very neat. It also has this scenario book in there that changes things up even further. So like I think I only played one of them. I might have played two. I'm not sure, but in that one, it's like, you know, when you play your card, whether that would be played into the pile where you lost the trick or where it was the pile where you won the trick. If you played like a 5, for instance, then all the 5s from your hand have to go into the same pile. So that makes it really tough because if you only, you know, want to win like 2 tricks, like that means you really, depending on how many cards you have in your hand, you don't want to win that with certain cards because you'll go over. It's challenging. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of variety, I think, because of that, which I really like. You know, I can't tell you how weird this is compared to like normal trick-taking games. I just don't have the background to say. But I can say that I am enjoying this game, and I don't even know what made me back it, honestly, between like the very cute art and being a trick-taking game, which I'm not like immediately drawn to. I think because it was solo, I'm like, well, okay, if I'm horrible at this, then it's just me.
Yeah.
So whatever.
And it's not an expensive game either.
No.
So it's like, okay, well, if I don't like it, it's fine. I'll sell it, or, you're not out a lot of money. So
yeah, I think it was just like, well, you know, it's probably worth giving this a shot, and I think it was. So, but I'll save that too much specifics for the final score. But is there anything else you want to talk about in the overall?
No, I think it's pretty, like, if you are familiar with trick-taking games or even just general like card games that are played off of suits, I think you'll get the basics of this game down pretty quickly. It's really just the nuances of the allies and what special abilities they have. I do think that this is a game where the more you play it, you will get better at it to a certain point. I think this game is a pretty even in skill and luck. But that's kind of a card game for you.
Yeah.
So I think you definitely can get better as you play it and you get more familiar with those ally abilities and when's a good time to use them. But you're also going to have some luck in it, and especially with that like 0 and 7 tricks leaders, you're going to need to have some luck on your side for those.
Yeah, like the 7 is hard because it's a lot, but like I could figure out with some of like the allies how to give myself more chances to win.
Yeah.
The problem is winning 0, and if they play a card down and you have to follow with the same suit, like if you just happen to have one that's higher than the first card that comes out, you lost. Like you lost that one. Like you're not gonna win that one over.
Yeah.
So that's tough. I don't know. I don't think I've ever won over the 0. I've won over the 7 person.
Yeah, I've won over the 7. I didn't do the 0. I was really close though. I think that's kind of another reason because that what allies want. I think that's another reason why, at least for me, a lot of the games were closer to the 15-minute mark, because once I knew I lost that round, I would just stop and shuffle and go to the next one. I didn't keep playing through because I'm like, well, I already lost, and it doesn't matter. So
I kind of did just because I wanted to have more practice in the type of game. Like I knew it wasn't necessary. Like I can't turn it around at this point. But I was like, well, I just want to get more of a hang of this and like get my brain used to thinking along these lines. But you don't have to do that at all. Like you said, if you already know you've lost, you could just stop and move on. I mean, it says you can't quit until they're out of cards, but really, if you've lost, you lost.
Yeah.
That's how it is, so.
So knowing that I was playing the rules wrong on most of my playthroughs, I feel like my score needs that little asterisk because, I think that my score could go up some after playing the game more with the rules, with the correct rules. I'm gonna give it a 7. I did enjoy the game. But like those first few playthroughs I was doing where I wasn't playing the allies correctly, like, was really bothering me, and like to a point where like I didn't know if I really wanted to keep playing or not. But I was like, well, but because we're reviewing it, I'm like, okay, well, I'll keep playing it. Maybe it's something that I feel like I can get better at. I think it is a game where once you learn the allies' rules better, you can kind of get better at the game. But I also think that there's going to be, because there's so much luck in this game, there's going to be a level at some point you're going to plateau, and you're not going to necessarily be able to get better. It's just going to be the kind of luck of cards. A little bit of skill, of course, but like a lot of it's going to be luck of cards as well. So I feel like this is a game that's kind of even in luck and skill. So
yeah, I think you could be right. And there were certainly, like, there's one of the allies, I can't remember if it's one of the basic ones they start you with, or if it's like another one that will let you like swap the current leader with like another one on the board. And so like if you know you're winning and you want this other one's power, you could bring this one over instead and potentially win that ally over. But like even though I knew that was a strategy, I'm like, I'm gonna ignore that. I have to like just figure out how to like do like more basic stuff here.
Yeah, it's like, I think I used that power once or twice, but it was more I knew I wasn't going to win with the suit that was at that spot, but I thought I could win if I changed the suit. So
yeah, that makes sense. But you know, overall, I've really enjoyed my plays of this. I'm gonna give it an 8, and like it's actually a pretty high 8 for me, because I was enjoying it before, and then when I played that scenario, even though it's, I mean, I don't remember what my score was, but it wasn't good, because it was a lot harder to do. I just really liked it, and I liked, like, oh my gosh, there's a whole book of these little scenarios, and this one just like totally changed the way I had to like approach everything. So I really like that a lot. You know, I don't know if the cute art might have possibly turned off. I mean, it funded on Gamebound, so obviously enough people were into it, and I've heard I've heard podcasts at least mention it. I don't know if maybe a less little kiddish art would have done it better, but I hope, like, if you like trick-taking games and you're curious at all about a solo one, if that's off-putting to you, like, try to like fight past it and give it a shot, because I think people who play trick-taking games and don't always have someone around to play it with, I think they'll really like this one. I know I do, and I don't know jack about trick-taking games, but I've heard other people who do know things about trick-taking games say they really enjoyed this. So it's not just like, well, he doesn't know anything about trick-taking games, and if he likes it, who cares? I'm just telling you it's a fun game. I can't compare it to a bunch of other trick-taking games, but I enjoy it. So it's an 8, a high 8 for me. You had a 7, so pretty good scores overall. It's not an expensive game, so you know, if you can get it, might be worth a shot for you. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time we put out a video. Otherwise, I look forward to see you all around the table again at All Games New and Old.
bye.
I think it's just how that is, yeah. Okay, that's fine. I guess I'll do that.
Oh, Michaela.
You will. That's inappropriate. Love you. Yes.
How long
So long. Oh, I'm gonna get hurt. I'm in danger. Oh boy.
So we make it another year.
It's been,
We'll see if we make it to 15.
you know what? This year has been something. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're just gonna be a little punchy. I think that's just how it is. It's just how it's gonna be. Oh, Northwood. That's what always happens in my head every time I see that title. I don't know why. No one told me I should do that. It didn't come from anywhere that I'm aware of.
It's all kind of letters. There's an exclamation mark.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
not?
how else would you say it, honestly? So I like that. I mean, it sounds terrible, but yeah, you know. Anyway, you hear the cat meowing? That's the queen of meows. And like, what is up with the person who wants zero. Like, they would just want you to be very unconvincing.
They won't be superior.
I guess so. Like, they just want to win all the tricks. Like, no matter what you say, they just want to have the one up on you, I guess? That leader's a jerk. What the heck, man? That's a, narcissist. I don't know if we want that leader on our side. Don't do it. I have a channel for that kind of talk. I don't think you could fit it on like a train or a plane tray.
No.
It's a little too big for that, but, you know, don't play so much. Moneybags, settle down. If you enjoyed that video, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
If you like any of our videos, what you should do is click this little button to subscribe so you'll know about the next time we put out a video.
We'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.